This is Audible.
Introduction to the 10th anniversary edition of Emotional Intelligence. In 1990, in my role as a science reporter at the New York Times, I chanced upon an article in a small academic journal by two psychologists, John Mayer, now at the University of New Hampshire, and Yale's Peter Salovey. Mayer and Salovey offered the first formulation of a concept they called emotional intelligence. Those were days when the preeminence of IQ as the standard of excellence in life was unquestioned. A debate raged over whether it was set in our genes or due to experience. But here, suddenly, was a new way of thinking about the ingredients of life success. I was electrified by the notion, which I made the title of this book in 1995. Like Mayer and Salovey, I used the phrase to synthesize a broad range of scientific findings, drawing together what had been separate strands of research, reviewing not only their theory, but a wide variety of other exciting scientific developments, such as the first fruits of the new field of affective neuroscience, which explores how emotions are regulated in the brain. I remember having the thought, just before the book was published 10 years ago, that if one day I overheard a conversation in which two strangers used the phrase emotional intelligence, and both understood what it meant, I would have succeeded in spreading the concept more widely into the culture. Little did I know. The phrase emotional intelligence, or its casual shorthand EQ, has become ubiquitous, showing up in settings as unlikely as the cartoon strips Dilbert, Zippy the Pinhead, and in Roz Chast's sequential art in the New Yorker magazine. I've seen boxes of toys that claim to boost a child's EQ. Lovelorn personal ads sometimes trumpet it in those seeking prospective mates. I once found a quip about EQ printed on a shampoo bottle in my hotel room. And the concept has spread to the far corners of our planet. EQ has become a word recognized, I'm told, in languages as diverse as German and Portuguese, Chinese, Korean, and Malay. Even so, I prefer EI as the English abbreviation for emotional intelligence. My email inbox often contains queries from, for example, a doctoral student in Bulgaria, a school teacher in Poland, a college student in Indonesia, a business consultant in South Africa, a management expert in the Sultanate of Oman, an executive in Shanghai. Business students in India read about EI in leadership. A CEO in Argentina recommends the book I later wrote on that topic. I've also heard from religious scholars within Christianity, Judaism, Islam, Hinduism, and Buddhism that the concept of EI resonates with outlooks in their own faith. Most gratifying for me has been how ardently the concept has been embraced by educators in the form of programs in what they call social and emotional learning, or SEL for short. Back in 1995, I was able to find only a handful of such programs teaching emotional intelligence skills to children. Now, a decade later, tens of thousands of schools worldwide offer children SEL. In the United States, many districts and even entire states currently make SEL a curriculum requirement, mandating that just as students must attain a certain level of competence in math and language, so too they should master these essential skills for living. In Illinois, for instance, specific learning standards and SEL abilities have been established for every grade from kindergarten through the last year of high school. To give just one example of a remarkably detailed and comprehensive curriculum, in the early elementary years, students should learn to recognize and accurately label their emotions and how they lead them to act. By the late elementary years, lessons in empathy should make children able to identify the nonverbal clues to how someone else feels. In junior high, they should be able to analyze what creates stress for them or what motivates their best performance. And in high school, the SEL skills include listening and talking in ways that resolve conflicts instead of escalating them, and negotiating for win-win solutions. Around the world, Singapore has undertaken an active initiative in SEL, as have some schools in Malaysia, Hong Kong, Japan, and Korea. In Europe, Great Britain has led the way.